The distress signal came from the edge of known space. A single, flickering pulse of energy, encoded in an ancient language long thought extinct. It was weak, distorted by the ravages of time and cosmic interference, but unmistakable in its message. They guard something worse. Commander Elias Varos of the Erebus Ascendant stood at the bridge, watching the translation scroll across the holo display. He felt a chill creep into his spine. The phrase wasn't unfamiliar. It had surfaced in over a dozen archaeological sites across the galaxy, from the ruins of the Viazari Dominion to the shattered remnants of the Othran Ascendancy. Each time, it had been found in the last records of a dying civilization, right before they vanished without a trace. Elias turned to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Kasra Dane. Her dark eyes scanned the readout with an expression of unease. "This came from the Lyran Expanse?" she asked. "Deep within it," Elias confirmed. "Coordinates match an old Viazari outpost, one of the last strongholds before their extinction. The Viazari were an enigma, an empire that had ruled vast swathes of the galaxy before collapsing almost overnight. No wars, no plagues, just gone. Their worlds were eerily intact, as though they had simply walked away. And now, the last remnant of their knowledge had resurfaced, whispering the same cryptic warning." Kasra exhaled, rubbing her temples. "Commander, we should send this to High Command. Let them decide how to proceed." Elias hesitated. Protocol dictated that any anomalous signals, especially those originating from dead civilizations, be relayed to the Galactic Council before any action was taken. But something about this felt different. Personal. "We're the closest ship," he said. "And if this is what I think it is, we don't have time to wait." Kasra opened her mouth to protest but closed it just as quickly. She had served under Elias long enough to know when his gut was speaking. And his instincts had kept them alive in situations where logic alone would have failed. The Erebus Ascendant adjusted course, engines roaring as they set a direct path for the Lyran Expanse. ####. The outpost was a floating tomb. The station orbited a dying red dwarf, its metal skeleton drifting in and out of shadow like a specter of the past. It had once been a bastion of Viazari ingenuity, but now it was little more than a mausoleum, its structure ravaged by time and neglect. Elias and his team stepped off the boarding ramp, their boots echoing in the hollow corridors. The air smelled stale, artificial, cycled and preserved far beyond its intended lifespan. "This place should be dead," Kasra muttered. "So why is it still running?" A faint hum vibrated through the walls. "Power. Not much but enough to sustain something." "Stay alert," Elias ordered. They moved deeper inside, passing through abandoned research stations, empty crew quarters and shattered observation decks. Strange symbols, etched in a language older than humanity itself, adorned the walls, warnings, prayers, or perhaps something else. And then they reached it. A single terminal, still active, its display flickering with corrupted data. Elias stepped forward and keyed the interface. At first, the text was unreadable, glitching in and out of existence. But then, after a long moment, it stabilized. A log. The final record of the Viazari outpost. Elias began to read. ####. Entry 5472 Yay. We were wrong. They were never primitive. We watched them for eons, convinced that they were an anomaly, an undeveloped species on a backwater world, undeserving of notice. We were so certain. So blind ****. Then we discovered the vault. And we understood why they never left their home. Why they never expanded, despite having the means to do so. Earth is not a prison. It is a fortress. And we were the fools who tried to breach its gates. ###. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Elias's pulse thundered in his ears. He had seen logs from dying civilizations before, but none had ever carried this weight. "What the hell does this mean?" Kasra whispered. Elias didn't answer. He was too busy scrolling down. The next line was barely legible, the letters warped and fragmented. But he made out one last phrase before the terminal died. "They are not the jailers. They are the guards." And then, silence. Behind them, something moved in the dark. The silence stretched too long. A breath held by the universe itself. Elias's pulse pounded in his ears as he turned, weapon raised. The corridor behind them was empty. No movement. No sound. Only the flickering light of failing consoles and the distant groan of the station's ancient hull shifting in the cold void. "Did you hear that?" Kasra's voice was low, controlled, but the sharp edge of tension was unmistakable. Elias nodded, his grip tightening around his sidearm. "We're not alone. Lieutenant Darek Voss, their combat specialist, took point, sweeping his rifle across the corridor. His fingers hovered over the trigger, the neural link in his suit feeding him real-time data on heat signatures, motion tracking, and atmospheric anomalies. Nothing on scans, he muttered. But this place is wrong. Elias didn't need sensors to know that. He could feel it. A weight pressing against his mind. They are not the jailers. They are the guards, asterisk asterisk. The words from the log refused to leave him. The implications were impossible. Earth was a cradle species, an anomaly in the galactic order. They had been studied, monitored, even dismissed. But the Viazari had discovered something that had shattered their understanding. And now it was their turn. Hashtag. The signal had originated from below. Beneath the research outpost, deeper than any of the standard data archives or security hubs. There was a sublevel that should not exist. Not on any known schematics, not in any surviving records. It had been buried, hidden, scrubbed from history. Until now. They found the entrance in a collapsed corridor, sealed behind reinforced bulkheads and layers of encrypted security protocols. The Viazari had tried to keep something in, or something else out. It took Kasra several minutes to bypass the lock. The old code was Viazari, but the encryption itself was unlike anything she had ever seen. Asterisk asterisk layered asterisk asterisk, recursive, almost organic. This wasn't just a vault, she murmured. It was a quarantine. The door hissed open, revealing a black maw of descending stairwells and rusted maintenance rails. The team hesitated. Every instinct told them to turn back. But they had already come too far. Elias stepped inside. Hashtag. The lower level was wrong. The moment they crossed the threshold, their suits registered an immediate change in atmosphere. Temperature drop, -40 degrees C. Electromagnetic interference, spiking. Biometric readings, fluctuating. The walls were different. Not the sleek, functional architecture of the Viazari, but something older. Organic. Chitinous, asterisk like the fossilized remains of a creature that had never been meant to die. Darek ran a gloved hand across the surface, his breathing shallow. This isn't Viazari construction, he muttered. This is... A shriek cut through the air. Not from their comms. From everywhere. Kasra stumbled back, clutching her helmet. What the hell was that? Elias's head throbbed. The sound wasn't just heard, it was felt, vibrating through their bones, crawling into their minds like a living thing. Then the lights flickered and they saw it. Hashtag. At the end of the corridor, beyond shattered glass and twisted metal, stood a door. Massive. Obsidian black. Humming. It wasn't just a construct, it was an entity. Pulsing, breathing, as if the station itself was trying to contain something still alive. Above it, written in the ancient glyphs of the Viazari, was a single phrase. Elias didn't need a translation. He knew what it meant. Do not open. Kasra exhaled sharply. We're leaving? Darek shook his head. We need to know what's inside. Elias stared at the door, at the way the metal seemed to shudder as if it knew they were there. For the first time in his life he agreed with Kasra. They needed to leave. But then the door whispered his name. And the station sealed them in. The moment the station sealed them in, the lights died. Not a flicker. Not a slow power drain. A total collapse. Elias's helmet display switched to low-light mode, painting the world in eerie shades of green and black. His pulse thundered in his ears. The air felt heavier, pressing against his suit as if the station itself were alive, asterisk and aware of them, asterisk. Systems check, he barked. Comms, down, Kasra reported, her voice tight. Emergency beacons offline. My HUD's glitching, Darek muttered, smacking the side of his helmet. Motion sensors are fried. The only thing still working was their audio feeds, asterisk, and the whispers had started again, asterisk. Soft. Indistinct. Circling them. Elias swallowed hard. The words weren't Viazari. They weren't any known language. But somehow he understood them. Why have you come? You do not belong. Leave, if you still can. Kasra took a step back. Commander, what the hell is this? Elias forced himself to move. To think. To lead. The door, he said, pointing ahead. We get closer. Kasra stared at him. You want to go toward the thing whispering at us? Elias hesitated, but then something moved in the darkness behind them. Heavy. Slow. Wrong, asterisk. They had no choice. Hashtag. The closer they got to the door, the worse it became. The whispers weren't just in the air anymore. They were inside their minds. Digging. Searching. Testing asterisk asterisk. Elias gritted his teeth as memories flooded his vision, things he had never told anyone. His mother's last words before the accident. The screams of crewmates lost in past battles. The guilt of every decision that had sent people to die under his command. It was inside him. He glanced at Kasra. She was trembling. Darik's breath was ragged, his hands clenched into fists. The door was testing them, measuring their worth. And then, it exhaled. The structure shuddered, the black metal rippling like disturbed water. Something beyond the door stirred. Elias knew with a certainty that burned in his bones, that it knew they were here now. It had been asleep. And they had just woken it up. Hashtag hashtag hashtag. A sudden sharp screech tore through the corridor. Not a whisper. Not a hallucination. A real physical sound. Darik spun, raising his rifle. Contact. The thing emerged from the shadows behind them. At first Elias thought it was a Viezari. But no. This thing was wrong, twisted, elongated, a grotesque mockery of a humanoid form. Its limbs stretched too long, its fingers tapering into needle-like claws. The face, asterisk asterisk if it had one asterisk asterisk, was an unreadable void, shifting, flickering between something almost familiar and something impossible. It had no eyes, but it was looking at them. Hashtag hashtag hashtag. Darik fired first. His pulse rifle spat blue plasma, round striking center mass. Asterisk asterisk but the thing didn't stop asterisk asterisk. It absorbed the energy, the impact rippling through its form like a stone thrown into a pool. The creature tilted its head as if amused. Then it lunged. Darik barely had time to scream before it was inside him. Not physically. Not like something grabbing hold. It slipped into him like a shadow. Like a whisper. Like a thought that wasn't his asterisk asterisk. Darik dropped his weapon, body convulsing. His breathing turned ragged. His mouth opened, asterisk asterisk but his voice was wrong asterisk asterisk. You should not have come. Elias grabbed Kasra and pulled her back. We're leaving. Now. Kasra was frozen, eyes locked on Darik, on whatever he was becoming. Darik turned toward them. Or at least his body did. His eyes were black. His expression was empty. But his mouth was smiling. The whispers grew louder. Something else was waking up. And they were trapped inside with it. Darik moved first. No hesitation. No sign of struggle. His body lunged toward them with inhuman speed, limbs bending in ways that should have snapped bone. Elias shoved Kasra aside and fired. Plasma rounds tore through Darik's chest, should have dropped him instantly, but he kept coming. His smile never faltered. His body never bled. Kasra scrambled to her feet, drawing her sidearm. Darik, if you're still in there, fight it. Darik's head tilted, the way a predator studies prey. His mouth moved but two voices came out. One was Darik's. The other was something else. He sees now. Darik stepped forward, slow, measured. The shadows at his feet rippled. He understands. The door behind him shuddered, the air grew thick, heavy, like the station itself was resisting whatever was about to happen. Elias made a choice. The only choice left. They had to open the door. Hashtag hashtag hashtag. Kasra gaped at him like he had lost his mind. We can't. Everything we've read, everything we've seen, tells us to do the opposite. Elias was already moving. The station had sealed them in for a reason. The Viezari hadn't tried to keep something inside. They had tried to keep something else from getting in. And whatever had taken Darik, it was already here. Elias reached the control panel and began overriding the lock. Darik let out a soft, mocking chuckle. You think this will save you? The whispers grew frantic. Agitated. Pleading. Do not open. Do not open. Do not. The lock released. And the door slid open. Hashtag hashtag hashtag. Silence. Not the oppressive, suffocating silence from before. Not the whispering dark. This was something absolute. A silence so deep it swallowed sound itself. The thing inside the vault was waiting. Elias felt it before he saw it. A pressure in his skull, like a presence too vast to comprehend. It wasn't a creature, it wasn't even alive in the way they understood. It was a force. A concept. A weight on reality itself asterisk asterisk. And it was staring at Darik. For the first time, Darik's stolen expression shifted. The thing inside him recognized what was in the vault. And it was afraid. Hashtag hashtag hashtag. The station screamed. Not with words. Not with whispers. With something older, something Elias couldn't comprehend. Darik's body convulsed. The thing inside him fought back. Shadows stretched from his form, writhing, clawing, trying to escape, but the force from the vault pulled. A singularity of hunger, of judgment, of annihilation. Darek, or what remained of him, let out one last agonized shriek, and then he was gone. Not dead, not destroyed, just erased. The thing that had stolen him? The thing that had whispered to them in the dark? It had never been the predator. It had been the prey. ####. The door began to close. Elias grabbed Kasra and ran. The station unsealed itself as if recognizing that its purpose had been fulfilled. Lights flickered back to life. The air felt lighter. They didn't stop running until they were back on the Erebus Ascendant. ####. In the days that followed, Elias filed his report. He omitted one thing. The last message the vault had left on his helmet's HUD, a single phrase burned into his retina before the door had shut. A warning. The truth. Earth does not guard a prisoner. Earth guards the gate. Elias stared out at the endless void. Humanity had always wondered why no great empires had ever come for them. Maybe the rest of the galaxy already knew. And maybe, just maybe, ***, they were right to be afraid ***. ###end.